All right. Hello, everyone. Today we're going to go through topic 1.1, structure of water and hydrogen bonding. And your learning objectives. Student will be able to explain how the properties of water that result from its polarity and hydrogen bonding affect its biological function. So first we're going to look at a few of the subcomponents of biomolecules before we go and focus in on water. So it's important to note that 96% of living matter is made up of the elements carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. There are two additional trace elements that become important. That's phosphorus and sulfur. The three main types of bonds that we have, let me pull that up there, are going to be covalent, ionic, and hydrogen. So first one we have here, covalent, those are going to be the strongest. That's when the electrons are shared between atoms. And that sharing could be unequal, which results in a polar molecule such as water. And it is, trying that. Water is a very important polar molecule to know. And that it's usually, and that nonpolar is going to be equal. But it's important to know water is a nonpolar molecule. Ionic occurs between the transfer of valence electrons. These are going to form our ionic compounds or salts. Let me erase that thing. I didn't realize it would stay. All right. Ions we're going to talk more about because they're going to transfer across cell membranes in a different manner than from some of our nonpolar molecules. And we'll talk about that in a later unit when we do cell transfer. Next type are the hydrogen bonds. These are the weakest form of bond. It's formed between a positively charged hydrogen atom of one molecule and a strongly electronegative oxygen of another. Hydrogen bonds are going to lead to many of water's special properties. Another interaction, not really even strong enough to be considered a bond, are the van der Waals interactions. These help give protein molecules their 3D shapes. And we'll talk more about proteins in topic 1.5. We'll talk more about proteins and some van der Waals interactions. Here's a video to watch if you want even more information about the four kinds of chemical bonds. We're not going to watch it now, but if you open up this PowerPoint presentation on Schoology, you'll be able to watch this video on your own for some more detailed information. All right. So it's important to know that living systems depend on the properties of water that result from its polarity and its hydrogen bonding. So hydrogen bonds between water molecules result in cohesion, adhesion, and surface tension. Cohesion is when water molecules stick to water molecules. This happens when you see like a droplet of water falling, it's sticking to itself. If you've tried piling water droplets up on top of a penny and it sort of bulges over, that's a combination of cohesion and adhesion. Some of those water molecules are sticking to the penny, others are sticking to themselves, allowing that bulge. Cohesion also allows for surface tension. This is at the surface of water, and you can even do this with a cup of water if you have one. The water molecules at the top are stuck to themselves. This allows little things like insects to walk across the top of the water. If you want to on your own, fill up a cup of water to the very top, and you might be able to get a paper clip that would otherwise sink to rest on top of the water due to the surface tension. Transpiration is also another phenomenon we see. This is when plants. Transpiration itself is the loss of water through the leaves of a plant, but water is going to move through a plant due to cohesion and adhesion within the individual xylem, or that's the vascular tissue of a plant. Water also has very high specific heat, and this is the amount of heat that's needed to change the temperature of the water by 1 degree. This is very important for aquatic life systems. It means water temperatures remain relatively stable They do change some, but relatively stable because water wants to hold on to its heat. It doesn't give that off very much. Water is also less dense as it freezes. That's a really weird thing as far as most substances go. Most liquids, as they get colder, they're going to get denser. Water gets denser only to a point, and that point is about 4 degrees Celsius, and water freezes at 0. At that point, these water molecules have become so close to each other, it's almost like they decide that they're invading each other's personal space, and so they'll move apart, and that's due to the hydrogen bonds, and it forms a lattice structure, and that lattice structure makes solid water less dense than liquid water, which is a very unique property. Again, very important for aquatic ecosystems. This allows ice to float, which prevents large bodies of water from freezing solid, meaning that life can survive over the winter and survive some of our global ice ages that have happened in the past. Water is also an important solvent. So important, it's frequently referred to as the universal solvent. Water, and we're going to categorize molecules as either hydrophilic, meaning water-loving, or hydrophobic, water-fearing. Then there's also high heat of vaporization, similar to specific heat, just talking about the amount of energy water needs to convert from a liquid to a gas. And if you want more about the properties of water, here is a fun Amoeba Sisters video that, again, if you open up this PowerPoint on Schoology, you'll be able to watch on your own time, and they go into more detail about the high specific heat. And that is it for me.